Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our NFL picks, and we are in week number
13.
And with the way things are going right now, myself 1 and 2 last week, and Emily red hot and on fire going
3-0. Perfect
she
again.
once again has to have the honor and lead off because clearly she knows a lot more about picking winners than I do. So Emily, what is your top pick this week?
Let me brush off my shoulder and go ahead. I have New England headed to Miami. And now Miami's coming off a win over Seattle. They're kind of turning things around, looking a bit hot, but you can't deny the Patriots' hot offense. Their defense doesn't really do much. What I like in this game is the over. Patriots haven't been a part of an under since week 2. I just think with Brady and clan, and you have Miami that Reggie Bush can run all over him, when you have those two components, I don't think there's really going to be defense on the field. You have to go with the over in that game.
Yeah, I agree there. I mean, it's something that's obviously happened throughout the year, and the odds makers know that with New England, everybody wants to bet the total, so they purposely jacked them up, and yet they still keep going over. Okay, now my top pick will also be an over as well, and it's going to be in a primetime affair, which is the Monday Nighter. We got RG3 and the Skins hosting Eli Manning and the G-Men, and this is going to be a beauty, and it's going to be a shootout. This total here is sitting in the low 50s. It should be in the mid 50s. Right now, the Washington Redskins offense is in full force. They have scored 30-plus points in 3 consecutive weeks. And that is because everybody's having a difficult time containing RG3 in that offense. And Alfred Morris, the number 1 ground game in the NFL. We know the Giants have a tremendous pass rush, but what they do not have is a good running stopping defense, and I just don't think they're going to be able to contain RG3. We saw what happened in their first meeting a couple weeks back. He was absolutely torching them. Justin Tuck's already talked about having nightmares trying to defend him. They're the team that's come out and said we don't want to have to face this guy all year long, and Washington knows that their defense is not that good, particularly in the secondary, and in order to win this game, they're going to have to light up the scoreboard and not take their foot off the gas pedal. And when you look at Eli Manning and what they did last week to Green Bay, they absolutely dominated them from an offensive perspective. That bye week did wonders for Manning's arm, whatever the rumors were that he was a little bit weak and tired there. They've got the big playmakers down the field with Cruz and Nix. And you look at Washington Redskins, they're 25th in the NFL in defense. Their secondary stinks. This is a big divisional game. I look for this game to be 30-27 either way. I don't really know who's going to win. It's tough to say, trusting the Giants laying points on the road, but I do like it to be a shootout.
And I would like RG3 to run a few of those touchdowns in for my fantasy team, so hopefully it is a shootout.
Touchdowns galore, get over the total, we make cash, we watch a fun, entertaining primetime game.
Absolutely. So my second pick, I'm going to be going with a road dog, the terminology. I have Jacksonville going to Buffalo, and I think they're going to have to keep this close. Jacksonville is 5-0 against the spread on the road, so it's kind of hard to go against that trend. Plus, you have Cecil Shorts, you have Blackman, you have Henne, who's got them to go into overtime against a stellar Houston team, beat the Titans, who are not the best team, but this is a young quarterback. It's starting to be his era. Plus, they just have Babin on their team, so they're going to be flexing it up out there. I think that they're going to keep this close. At least they're going to keep it within a touchdown. If anything, you have to put your money on Jacksonville.
For sure. When you look at the state of mind this Buffalo team is in after last week's loss, they're questioning the play calling, Stevie Johnson mouthing off, Chan Gailey's in left field. You can't trust Buffalo anytime, let alone when they're a favorite of this magnitude.
Creep up into Canada.
And now my number 2 pick is going to be another primetime game here with the high-flying offensive Tampa Bay Buccaneers going on the road to Mile High here. And you know what? I like the home favorite here, even though I know you're paying a bit of a price for a number of reasons. Tampa Bay, while they've been good this year, and I bet on them a couple of times during this streak, they haven't really rised up to the occasion when it comes to playing elite quarterbacks and being able to stop them, and that is exactly the case with Peyton Manning. We've seen what Eli Manning's been able to do to them. We saw what Matt Ryan did to them. We saw to a lesser extent in a quarterback what Tony Romo has been able to do to that poor secondary, and that is throw the football downfield and rack up the points. And that is exactly what's going to happen here in this football game. And also, when Tampa Bay's been on this winning streak, who've they really beaten that's all that good? Carolina a couple of times. I think they beat a couple of other low-end teams. Minnesota, even though the record's good, they're all not that good. And I just don't see them being able to rise up in class here in this big spot. Denver, as good as they are offensively, they're even better defensively. And we know the way that Tampa Bay offense is all predicated on the running game. You are not going to run the football on that stout front four they've got going on right now with that monster Von Miller. DJ Williams is back, Leslie Woodyard, and they're going to be able to regulate that Tampa Bay offense. And I see Denver, after having not covered in 2 weeks in a row, being a very popular public team, a little bit of value here, only having to lay around a touchdown when the numbers should be higher. A lot of the public loves Tampa Bay getting this many points. I'm going to go the other way here. I say Denver wins this game by at least 10 points. I'm going to say around 27-17, maybe 30-14, somewhere in that range.
And they have a division to clinch with that win, so there's a little
right,
bit
exactly. And also, when you look at Tampa Bay, a road team that doesn't necessarily travel to colder atmospheres, the higher altitude, I sort of feel like Tampa Bay comes back down to earth a little bit here, and we saw what Atlanta did in the clutch of last week's game, being able to control them.
They'll come down to earth, up, stuck in the clouds, mile high.
And they covered last week, and I had them. And truth be told, that was a lucky cover. Look how many easy missed field goals Matt Bryant had. Matt Prater's an absolute stud and can rock that ball through the uprights from 60 yards plus, and should be able to put up the points against that defense.
For my last pick, I have to go with Houston, because even despite they're going to go to Tennessee, despite having 2 overtime games in about 5 days, they're going to have a little bit of rest in them. They're playing against a Titans team that their owner doesn't even believe in them, that puts them to shame publicly a few weeks ago. They are just in shambles. They're trying to pull it back together, but Houston is just too good of a team, and a lot of people aren't giving them the benefit of the doubt because they think they're going to be exhausted. It's a long season. It's getting late in the season. But when you have Arian Foster going against that horrific run defense that the Titans have, and then if he's not getting it done, you have a breakout star in Andre Johnson, who is doing everything. I think the only reason that Schaub isn't getting any credit is because he's bald. That's what I had heard. I've been reading on the internet something about that. So against all you people trying to snitch on people without hair, they can throw too, and Johnson can catch it. You have to go with Houston in this game. The Titans are 1-8 against the spread against division opponents. So you have going with the trend, going with the better team. I think you give them a touchdown, and you have to go with Houston with this guy.
Okay, understanding that. I wouldn't want to touch Tennessee either, so I would have to take Houston if I was laying my cash on this game.
Even if the ball's quarterback?
I don't care if they have hair or not. I care if they cover numbers.
Hasselbeck did some work, so.
Okay. Now, speaking of Hasselbeck, his former team, the Seattle Seahawks, are in action here, playing the Chicago Bears, a rematch of the playoff game from a few years ago. And I really think that this game here is going to be an absolute slugfest. I understand the total is low, but I'm still going to go under the number here of 38 for a number of reasons. We know that Seattle's offense is being putrid on the road this year. Last week against Miami was the first time all year they scored over 20 points on the road, and that was aided by a 100-yard kickoff return. And that was against the Miami defense, who's comparable to Chicago. Now, I understand that there's a couple of injuries in the secondary, in particular Peanut Tillman, a guy who creates a lot of turnovers. But you know what? Wilson isn't the type of player that's going to go into Soldier Field on a cold winter day and rip it up, throwing the ball downfield. So they're going to have to rely on the run game to chew up the clock a little bit. And I see them having trouble getting more than 14, 17 points. And on the same side of the thing here with Chicago's offense is they're going to struggle mightily against Seattle because their offensive line is an absolute shambles right now. And if Jay Cutler doesn't have time, he is not going to be able to throw the ball. And when you look at Seattle's stout front four, they're going to put a ton of pressure on him. We know about the Adderall boys. They're protesting their suspension, so they'll be back there to put some heat on any balls that might be going the direction of Brandon Marshall. They don't even have their number 2 receiver in Alshon Jeffrey. This has a 17-14 game written all over it, and that's why I like the under there. So those are our picks here for week number 13. Holy smokes. We look to continue on our winning ways and provide you guys with more entertaining and winning selections. And if you want to challenge us and think that we're wrong, then obviously you have that opportunity by clicking on the link below at BetHubb.com and getting out there and getting your account started. And if you already have one, excellent, cash in on some of the bonuses we have going on every week. And we also have our NFL weekly pools. There's that. You can challenge your friends, start some trash talking, just get really interactive with everything and enjoy your NFL Sundays with some wagering at BetHubb.com.